I want to do a video going over my screen setup, what I'm looking at, and why I have all this stuff up in front of me in order to scalp trade the market. This is geared towards brand new traders or somebody who's just thinking about getting into trading. I want to touch on what I use to scalp trade the market. First of all, I use Webull as my trading platform. Everybody has their own favorite. I've been using Webull for about 7 years, and it does everything I need it to do and then some. I'm not going to go over how I've customized this screen and set it up, only because there's already hundreds, if not thousands, of videos out there showing you on all the platforms how to set your trading screen up. So I just want to touch on what I'm looking at and why. To start off with the chart. I do run a candle chart. I trade on a 1 minute time frame because I do trade scalp style and momentum in and out quick. I need to see as much movement of a stock as I can get to better gauge which way it's moving, the strength it has, and it helps me with my entry points as well. The only thing I've done here, I have colored my red bearish candles that are standard. I've colored them white just because they stand out better for me. That's just my own personal preference. And I want to cover this orange line. It's the only real true indicator I actually use to trade the market, and it's all I need for scalp trading. This is VWAP, and that's showing here, and it is also showing here. VWAP is volume weighted average price. And what that is, basically, it's a type of a moving average, and it's taking the price of the stock as it fluctuates throughout the day. It's taking the volume into consideration, and it's drawing you a line saying, hey, I think the average price is $1.43 on this stock. And that's how VWAP operates. It's actually probably, I would say, one of the most popular indicators out there. All kinds of traders use it, long-term investors, scalpers, day traders. It's a good all-around indicator to use because you'll find that many tickers will react off of this line and respect this line as well. So I do run VWAP as my only indicator, and again, that's showing here. You can also see the same number here. Almost all these trading platforms have multiple spots on them. You can see the exact same information. I normally just give this a quick glance, but as you can see, by the way, it's Sunday, the market's closed. I just grabbed a random chart to kind of go over what I'm looking at here. So just for an example, this ticker, VWAP says, hey, average price is $1.43 by how it's been moving. But as you can see right now, it's well below VWAP. It's trading at $1.36. If I was, if the market was open and I'm going through my top 5 list, I would just click on. I would never be interested in something like this. This is not a scalp opportunity for me. I need something moving upwards quickly, but it kind of does show you the strength and weakness of a stock throughout the day. So that's the chart I run. Basically, VWAP is my main indicator. Obviously, this is the part that this section here where you put in your buy orders and sell and close your positions. The most important part about all of this stuff is the stop loss area right here. I believe you should run a stop loss, especially with a small account. This is a small account channel. I run a $300 account. You've got to protect this thing. You cannot afford with a small account to take too many big hits and too many big losses, or you will not have an account left for very long to trade with. So just my own preference, I keep my losses within 2 to 3% of my total account balance. So right now, $314, let's just call that $300 in my account. I will set my stop loss saying that I am willing to take a 2 to 3% total loss on a trade compared to my account balance. So in other words, 2 to 3% of my $300 is a $6 loss on a trade, or a up to a $9 loss. I usually keep it around the 2% mark. But what I will do, and you'll see me do just before I enter a position, or if I'm just kind of getting an order ready, getting ready to enter a position, I will fiddle with the percentage of the stop loss on this very trade, on these numbers, and I will only really watch this number down here. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty small on my screen as well, but I will adjust this stop loss for this trade until I see about a $6 cash money loss here. That's 2% of my account value. I'm not really looking at the percentage change. Really, when I'm doing this, I'm looking at how much my loss is going to be if the trade goes against me and I'm stopped out and my shares are sold automatically for a loss. So I keep this number in my focus as I'm setting up a buy order, and I want that around $6 in this case of a $300 account. I also run a take profit order as well along with my buy order, and I just have that set for 20%. All that does is put a bar on this screen that I can move around as needed to exit the trade. If I'm in profit, the ticker's going up, I can adjust this just by sliding it up and down, and that's what I use to exit the trade once I'm in the green and in the profit. Kind of same with the stop loss. That can be moved around as well as needed. Moving to this middle window right in here, this is time and sales, and what this is just simply a modern day version of the old school ticker tape machine you've all seen in old movies, where somebody's standing there holding this thin ribbon of paper tape coming out of a machine, and it's like 30 feet long, crumpled up on the floor. That's what this is. This is just showing all current trades that have closed out and transpired, buys and sells both. I don't care what the numbers are. I never look at the actual numbers. I just look at the movement. I only use this as an indicator of how active a stock is as it is rising, and I look for what I call a feeding frenzy. When it is in a feeding frenzy mode and just being traded heavily and the price is running up quickly, this will be flying by and scrolling by so fast you couldn't read the numbers even if you tried. So I can see this out of my peripheral as I'm looking at a chart or down here. It's just to show me how much action, how fast this is moving on a ticker I'm looking at. This area kind of just shows some basic stats on what this stock is. Most of this is also showing down here. I will get to that in a minute. I normally look down here more than up here for this kind of information. I'll touch on that in a minute. I do look at the price up here, and it will show the percentage gains. It is up or down. I only really look at two numbers, and I mostly check them here, but the two numbers are the volume and the free float. As a momentum trader, a scalp trader, I need as much volume as possible. I need an active traded stock, and I look at the free float, and as I just call this the float. And what that is it's the amount of shares available for the public to trade back and forth. So just this example chart we're looking at, this has a float of 4 million shares available to trade, but look at the volume. Very high, 237 million shares traded on this stock with only 4 million available. So what's going on here is people are just trading the same 4 million over and over and literally over again to equal this 237 million shares traded. So for me, for a scalper, the lower the float, the higher the volume, the better I like it. And the reason for the lower float my criteria, and this is just my personal preference, is I like to see 10 million shares or less available to trade. The less amount of shares are available, the lower the float, the less amount of activity or volume it takes, especially buying pressure, to get a ticker running upwards quickly in a feeding frenzy. If this was, say, Apple, 2 billion shares with a B, it would take a tremendous amount of trading activity to get it to boom up for a scalp trader such as myself. So the lower the float, the less volume you need. So I like a low float and a high volume. And lastly, this is what I just call the Bible. This is where all my trades come from. I look at this constantly. You'll see me do that in live trading videos. I run the top 5 is what I look at, the top 5 gainers in the market, in the entire stock market, and this is constantly updating. If I scroll down, there's actually 20 on this list, but the lower you go, for scalp trading purposes, I'm not looking at these. They're just not moving much, and most people are not looking at those. The action's right here in the top 5. So I need a fast-moving stock with a ton of volume, heading up, so I can get in, get a piece of that party, and jump out. So this is constantly updating. As some of these tickers get weak throughout the day, they will fall down and get buried in this top 20 list. And as some of these lower ones gain strength and momentum, they'll pop in. So tickers are constantly coming in and out of this top 5. But this is where I trade from, right in here, and I keep a very close eye on these. And you'll see on my live trading videos, I just constantly run through the top 5 until I find something that fits my criteria of movement. That's basically what I'm using, and is as bare bones for me as I can possibly make it. I don't have all these trend lines and support and resistant lines drawn all over my chart. For scalping, for momentum trading, it's just not necessary. Real quick down here, this is just, again, my own personal setup. I run a 5-minute chart on the SPY, the S&P 500. This is just literally an eye blink of a glance. I look down at this, and that tells me the overall health of how the market as a whole is doing. I like to look at the S&P 500. Other people look at other tickers, but the SPY pretty much gives me the overall picture. I also, just for my own benefit, I run a 5-minute chart on Bitcoin. I'm a long-term investor in a few cryptos, so I kind of like to keep an eye on Bitcoin moving. I'm not even going to mention this. I need to get rid of it. This is nothing. So that's my setup. Again, this is geared towards newer traders in case you're wondering what all this stuff is. This is as bare bones as I need it to be.